Welcome to Ghouls Night Out with your hostesses, Brandy and Jody.
Hello, beautiful ghouls. Welcome. This is Brandy. I'm here with my sister, Jody.
Hello.
So, how'd you do with your diet this week?
Well, you'll be happy to hear that I actually started my yoga.
Good.
And then I hurt myself.
Oh, no. Oh, no. What happened?
I did it 2 nights in a row, and the second night, the rug slid out from underneath me.
Oh, no.
And I caught myself, and I fell on my wrist.
Yeah.
And now it hurts really bad.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That sucks.
It feels better than it did a couple days ago, so hopefully by Monday it'll be better.
Yeah.
And I'll be able to start it again, but yeah, that sucks.
Oh, that's no good. I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh. Well, I actually did really good this week. I didn't cheat once, and I did 4 nights of exercise, so I was really proud of myself this week. So, yay, we're both improving. That's good.
Yes, I'm improving, but I weighed myself like towards the beginning of the week, and I'd lost like 4 pounds.
Yeah.
And then I weighed myself tonight, and I was back down to only losing 1 pound.
I don't understand that. That doesn't even make sense.
I don't know.
There's no way that you can gain that much weight in, 3 days?
Yeah, so it was something like that. I don't know.
I don't understand, but anyway, maybe you should, I don't know, do scales need like recalibrated or something?
No,
like
this
that?
one's a digital one.
Oh.
I don't think you recalibrate those.
Oh, I've never owned a scale in my life.
Oh.
So I have no idea. I need to weigh myself, I guess.
Yeah.
I'll just wait. I'm in no hurry to do that.
I'm not worried about weighing in until the last day.
Yeah. All right, well, good. I'm glad to hear. Hopefully your wrist will feel better next week sometime. Well, soon, anyway.
Yeah.
All right. So I found a few things in the news this week that I found to be interesting. So there were parents that had a baby girl, and they actually had her, and I believe, and I was going to say that I didn't really look into the details of this because there were pictures and stuff, and I just couldn't look at them. But these parents had a baby girl, and I believe she lived about 4 days and then passed away. And it was something that they were kind of expecting because they, with the ultrasound and stuff like that, they knew that something was wrong.
Yeah.
Well, it said, I don't know how, but they spent 16 days with their deceased baby girl. What? And they took pictures of her, and they were holding her, and they had her in a stroller, and took her out. And
oh my gosh!
It is.
Doesn't someone start stinking after a
couple
days?
Well, that's what it said, because it was something about they did something to where that didn't happen.
Oh.
So they were able to spend over 2 weeks. And I
don't think that's healthy.
No, it's oh my gosh. Like I said, there were pictures, and it was really disturbing. It really was. I can't imagine the pain, and that's terrible.
No,
and,
I couldn't either.
I guess people grieve in their own way, but I mean, I'm sorry, I could never do that. I could never. But it's crazy. I thought I would mention that. That's crazy. Another thing, which is kind of funny, but did you happen to see there is a woman at some sort of basketball thing? I don't know, NBA finals maybe, something like that. Do you have any idea?
No.
Does that ring a bell? No. Well, there was she was at some sort of NBA where there were cameras everywhere, and people were filming everything, and they filmed this woman, and she dipped her chicken tender in her Coke and then ate it, and people went crazy. They got all pissed because what? Well, yeah, I mean, they were like, nobody should be alive that does that, or that, they were mad. But she said that she had picked it up from her father when she was a little girl, and he said that was a quick way to cool it off.
Oh my
god. So she's like, I don't remember not doing that. Which I thought that was funny, and I guess people went crazy because this woman dipped.
Heaven forbid someone do something that the
I
way
know.
they want to do it and not
Oh
the
my
way
God.
you do it.
I know. That's so stupid. Another terrible thing, actually, and like I said, I didn't really look into it much, but yes, in Dallas, a police officer got off of her shift and walked into the wrong apartment in her apartment complex and shot the resident that lived there to death. Yeah, it was like some 26-year-old guy, I think.
Did she think she was in her apartment?
Yes.
How do you go to the wrong apartment?
Well, I mean, you know, it said she was a police officer. I don't know how their shifts work, but I
think
know
she was just so tired that she didn't know what she was doing or something.
Maybe, and you know, really, honestly, apartment complexes, it's a cookie cutter of the exact same buildings. I know, maybe she just moved there, or I mean, I don't know. It's the craziest thing. Like, there's going to be a giant investigation that goes on. Yeah, it was. I couldn't believe that. I read that today, actually, but that was crazy. Another thing, which is crazy, in Wisconsin, a man worked at this place for like 2 years and was friends with this guy that he worked with. Well, this guy ended up being his biological father.
What?
Yes.
Are you serious?
Yes.
How'd they find out?
His mom, well, his adopted mom, knew who his parents had been. And she said he never asked, so she never said anything. And she said that she was going through his Facebook friends and saw his biological father that was one of his friends on Facebook. And she was like, did you know?
Oh my gosh, that's cool.
I know. So they were like reunited and they're friends, and he was like, holy shit. You know,
that's crazy.
I know. Another one that this woman, it got, I guess it was a side effect or something, that she was taking this medicine and got a black hairy tongue. What? She said within a week, she noticed a bad taste in her mouth and she was nauseous all the time.
Ew.
And it's literally, there were pictures, and it gave me the heebie-jeebies so bad. It made my skin crawl. But
that's one place that should not have hair.
No. But that's like a thing. That's like I said, it is a side effect from a medication that she was taking.
It seems like you would be like dry heaving all the time, like something was tickling the back of your throat or something.
Maybe. I know. That's so gross. Like I said, there were pictures and I couldn't look at them. But that was in the offbeat news this week. So I almost got punched in the face this week.
Oh, cool. Who did it?
Well, nobody did it. But no, I think it was last weekend. I was sleeping soundly and Aaron grabs my head. And he said, I was like, what the fuck? Get off me. And he's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. He said he was dreaming that he was getting ready to get into a fight.
Oh.
And he grabbed this person, me. And so, I mean, if I wouldn't have kind of freaked out, who knows what could have happened. It was scary. I know. It's really scary. I mean, it was scary. Oh, anyway, that's all I wanted to go through this week.
Okay. I did ghost stories in hospitals.
Awesome. I love the shows when they go to hospitals. Those are my favorite.
Yeah. All right. So the first one is the man with the striped shirt. Not mine, but a fellow nurse of mine. We were talking about patients' hallucinations when he told me about this time he was walking past a patient's room, an elderly woman with dementia, and as she was chatting up a storm with someone. He asked her who she was talking to, and the woman replied, that nice man in the black and white striped shirt. A while later, he went into another patient's room with dementia, and that different patient asked where the man with the striped shirt had gone.
Huh.
That's
Whoa. That's weird. You said they both had dementia?
Yeah.
I wonder why that was important.
I don't know.
That's very weird.
This one's called Don't Let Them Take Me. The best I have heard is from a nurse who said that one night she was floating to oncology at the hospital she used to work at, so she was like a floater.
Oh, okay.
Like she would go to different places. She was given a patient who was passing away and had been unconscious for several days. At one point during the night nurse went into the room and the patient was at the top of the bed and looked at her and said, "Don't let them take me." The nurse was freaked out and asked her who was going to take her, and she said, "That black thing up there," and pointed up in the air.
Oh.
This patient died within minutes.
Oh my God, no.
Yeah.
That is creepy. I just got chills.
It doesn't sound like she was going to a good place.
It really doesn't. Ooh. Don't let them take me. Oh my God, that is creepy.
This one is called An Unexplained Black Shape. One night I was caring for a This is going to be one of those nights, okay? One night I was caring for a dying male patient. He was scared, and I spent quite some time with him, trying to calm and reassure him. Eventually he calmed, and I left the bedside and went over to the nurse's station, which was about 15 feet away. As I sat down, I glanced over to him, and there was a black shape standing over the bed, looking down at the patient. I was terrified, and I'm sure it was something evil.
Ooh. I don't like these so far.
Well, it's at a hospital, and a lot of people... Excuse me.
Oh my God, should I leave that in?
A lot of people die at hospitals, so...
Yeah, but why is everything evil and
I don't know.
dark and black?
I don't remember if there's any that aren't, so...
Oh, shit.
In two places at once. I used to work in a state institute for developmentally disabled. We were temp relocated to another building for remodeling of our building. Anyways, I was working one night, second shift. We had a locked PICA unit. I don't know what that means. PICA. I saw one of the residents walking down the hall. Very distinct gait and very distinct yellow t-shirt with a happy face on it. I went into the ward to let the staff know that they had an escapee. This was a serious situation because this particular resident, Larry, would ingest absolutely anything. From clothing to pens to belts, a bird's head.
What?
Literally anything. He was also very reluctant to go back to his home ward. Hence why I didn't bring him back myself. He needed 2 escorts. When we got back into the hall, less than 15 seconds later, Larry was gone. We searched the entire building, outside, downstairs, all wards. He was nowhere to be found. This whole search lasted 10 minutes because I had all extra staff looking for him. I was just about to call the house supervisor to let her know that we'd lost someone when out of the bathroom walks Larry with one of the staff. He had been getting his bath in the bathroom for the last 30 minutes or so. Kinda freaky. I absolutely, without a doubt, saw Larry in the hallway. I never would have short-staffed the wards like I did if I hadn't seen him. Like I said, very distinct gait, look, clothing. I took a lot of razzing that night. They all thought I was crazy. Anyways, come to find out the next day, after the story goes around that I'm crazy, Larry had an identical twin brother who died in that building 10 years previously.
Whoa.
Now that one, okay, I understand it's kind of freaky, but why would he have the exact same clothes on?
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he didn't. When they saw him come out of the bathroom, they didn't say anything about his clothes.
Well, no.
Anyway, the next one is called Never Open That Door. This one's kind of funny. In the morgue at my hospital, I would always hear knocking coming from inside the freezer. It really creeped me out, especially when the pathologist looked up, grabbed me by the shoulders, stared me straight in the eye, and said, "You hear that? You never open the door when they're knocking. Never." It turned out to be some loose pipes. He thought it was hilarious. I didn't sleep that night.
That is
That's
evil.
just plain mean. This one's called The Scene Was a Bloodbath. I was working my regular 7 to 7 night shift in a bone marrow transplant unit with one other nurse. We had 5 patients, and it was about 3:30 a.m. My coworker had just come out of room 4, and I startled her as she came around the corner. She had been emptying a urinal when the bathroom door had closed on her, which of course freaked her out. And she spilled urine on herself, but I digress. She proceeded to tell me that there was a young gentleman who had been in that room who had died a gruesome death. Evidently, this man was slated to go home, but one night around 4, the nurses heard a thump, the sound of someone falling. They rushed in the room, and this man was in the bathroom, central line out, and blood everywhere. They coded him, but he died right there in the bathroom. No one is sure why he pulled his line, or what had happened, but evidently the scene was a bloodbath. Horrible, horrible. Now here comes the scary part. A few weeks later, a sweet little old lady is in that room and asked the nurse if someone had died in there. The nurse explained that this is a hospital and it was likely that someone could have died. Well, the lady says, I think a young man died here. The nurse asks why. The lady responds, 'cause he's talking to me. Okay, I'm not making this up. This lady has a central line, triple lumen. The nurse goes in there later and there's blood everywhere. One of her lines is cut. Not pulled out, but cut. There are no scissors in the room. The lady says he did it.
Oh my gosh. That is creepy.
Yes, it is. This one's called I Got the Fuck Out of There. Worked at a hospital during transport for a couple of years. The transport home base was in the basement of the hospital, where all the laundry is done and supplies are also sorted there. I hated working late nights after this incident. On this particular night, I was the only one in the basement when I heard whistling at the end of the hallway by the elevator. I poked my head around the corner, expecting to see my only co-worker on duty that night, but there was absolutely no one there.
Oh.
I shrugged it off. I'm not easily spooked. Nights are slow, so I ate some snacks and hung out in the break room for a bit. Next thing I know, I hear a loud bang. I walked into the hallway, and a bed is rolling down the hall, bumping into the sides.
No.
At this point, I think that my coworker is bullshitting me. I radio him, and he says he's upstairs in the cafeteria. I still don't believe him and think I'll catch him in the act. I walk past the laundry room, and the machines start. Pop my head in there, expecting to find him, but it's completely empty. Okay, starting to get a little nervous. I walk into the laundry room and the machines completely stop. I freeze, then run out and head towards the elevator where I hear whistling again. At this point, I know I am the only worker in the basement. As I am standing there waiting for the elevator, things start falling off the shelves down the hall. Boxes of gloves, tissues, packages of tubes. I am literally standing there watching them fall off one by one at the opposite end of the hallway. I shit you not, my entire body broke out in goosebumps. My hair stood on end and I had this strong gut feeling I was being watched. I was not alone. As I'm getting into the elevator, I feel what feels like someone brushing my arm. I went upstairs and found my coworker in the cafeteria. I got the fuck out of there and transferred as soon as possible. The creepy thing to add to this is that I usually whistle mindlessly to myself at work. It was almost as if the spirit was mimicking me. Creepiest feeling ever.
Oh my gosh.
We've talked about that before, the mimicking thing.
Yes, I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
Yeah.
It's like they're making fun of you or something.
Yeah, it's mocking. And oh my gosh, that is just too creepy to me. I don't like that.
This is my last one. It's called a skinwalker.
Ooh, we talked about that before.
Yeah. I have a couple of stories, one from my mother and one from me. My mother's is probably the most creepiest and has always stuck with me, especially with all the paranormal stuff she has seen. My mom worked night shift at the hospital in Arizona in a town by the border. And go figure, old mining town. Well, anyways, she's working her night shift going room to room when an old lady who walked in the halls due to insomnia told her some weird goat man kept trying to get in through the doors. My mom didn't think anything of it, but she is Catholic and had those moments of silent praying to herself. After a few moments, there was a shriek. She couldn't explain it, but that it was a horrible shriek that made her blood turn to ice. She then went to the nurse's station to ask if anyone else heard that, in which they did. Come to realize that shriek was heard all around the hospital, freaking everyone out, especially paranormal religious ladies and men. A few of them go look out the windows and see hoof marks by the doors and windows, and the marks had no trail towards or away from the building.
Oh my gosh, what?
Yeah. My story was pretty creepy. I too became a CNA and worked a locked down dementia and Alzheimer unit at night. I've had creepy moments, but this one will always stick with me. I was finishing up my binders when a light goes off out of the hall, so I took it, punched my code in, and went out since the other CNA was busy with someone else. I go in, ask if everything is okay. Sleepily, my little lady tells me there's a darn woman who keeps knocking on her window wanting to come in, and that she really wants to go back to sleep. She insists I go and let her in, and I'm thinking to myself, oh no, this sounds all too familiar. I reassure her, peek out the window. Nothing. Maybe she was dreaming and really tired and mistook it as her roommate. After that incident, I head back into my unit, sit, eat a snack, chat with my head nurse, talk with my usual insomniacs. Mind you, it's around 3-ish a.m. now. Lights go off, and in my unit. Also, this unit has no outbound lines at all. I head down to her hall and ask if all is okay. My lady says she can't sleep. Someone keeps banging on her window and she is scared. I pretty much about crap myself at this point. I again reassure my lady, thinking, what just happened? I tell my nurse and she laughs and said, this has been happening for years.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That is creepy.
I still don't know what banged on my door that one night.
What are you talking about?
I told you about the night I was home and someone banged on my door really loud. Did I not tell you that?
No.
I was home. This was a night when Peyton was over at his dad's for the weekend.
So was this at this house that you're at now?
Yeah, this was like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
And you didn't
I told you.
tell me?
Well, yeah, I guess I forgot. I thought I told you.
Oh no.
But no, I was sitting in the living room and I was watching TV and it was almost 10 o'clock and someone starts banging on my door, and it's not like a knock, it's like full out banging.
Oh my god.
And of course I freak out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my god, what do I do, So I kind of like go and look out the front window and
Yeah.
I don't see anything, so I turn off all the lights and then I go into the kitchen and I'm like looking out in the yard and I don't see nothing. And you'll never believe what I did.
What?
I went and opened the door.
Oh my god.
I know, as I'm opening the door, I'm like, what the fuck am I doing?
Oh my god.
And I open the door and I'm thinking that, and I don't see anyone. I hurry up and shut it real fast and lock it.
Yeah.
There was no one there. And for like the next 5-10 minutes, I got every light in the house is off. And I just keep going from window to window, looking outside, and there was nothing there.
Oh
But
my
it took
god.
it took me a while between the knocking and me actually looking.
Yeah.
That someone could have knocked and then ran away.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it was probably just kids.
That's still
But I was by myself and I was freaking out.
Yeah, that's creepy. I mean, someone banging frantically.
It wasn't even. Yeah, exactly. It wasn't a knock.
That
like a
is
normal
scary.
person. It was banging like hard.
That is scary.
Scared the shit out of me.
Yeah. What did your animals do? Were they freaked
Leia
out?
started barking.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It was.
So, can you see your front porch from that window in your living room?
You can just see like the back corner of it.
Oh.
But if someone's at the door, they're not like right up on the door. They're, usually
Yeah.
back about a foot. So I could see if someone was at the door.
Yeah.
And the same with the window in the kitchen. I can't see like right in front of the door, but I can see like that corner.
Yeah.
I hate not being able to see.
Yeah. you
I've been
need a
thinking about getting
peephole.
one of those ring.com things.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to figure out if you can buy one that doesn't actually need to be hooked up like to your house, like a regular doorbell. I don't think it needs to be. And if it's the one I think I need, it's only $100.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about getting one of those
That's probably a good idea.
because it's got the camera and
Yeah.
everything on it.
Yeah, especially if you can't see what's outside your door.
Yeah, I can't see. Peyton can. He can see out the window, but he's like
Oh,
over 6 feet tall.
that's
I can't
right.
see out that window.
Yeah.
I can't even come close to seeing out that window.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have a peephole.
I remember in the apartment that I was in, people could totally see you looking through a peephole. So
yeah.
if you wanted to pretend you weren't home, like that wasn't an
Yeah,
option.
you couldn't do that,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
But
yeah,
I've
that
been
sucks.
seriously thinking about getting one of those ring things.
I would. Just you can never be too careful.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and
Okay.
that's scary.
Yeah.
So this week I decided to do past life stories So, first one, not necessarily a past life, but my friend had a miscarriage before she had her son. He had no idea about her miscarriage and was about 6 when he said the following. Remember the baby you had in your belly? I made them go away so you could be my mommy. This child also saw spirits in mirrors until he was about in 5th grade.
I told you mirrors are evil.
I know. That's why I started with that one.
I don't like mirrors.
Okay, next one. My son said something to me when he was about 2.5 years old. We were on the top of the stairs while I was fixing something. And he said to me, funny, me were daddy, now you daddy. I'd been about 29 or 30 by then, and my father died when I was 11. He only said that once, and I've never told anyone apart from my best friend about 20 years ago. So, and there are a lot of those in here where it's like all in the family. Like the people that you connect with in your life, you connect with in all lives, apparently.
So, my favorite show, The X-Files.
Yes.
They have an episode where it's like a past life episode, and every one of their lives, it's got like the same people in it. So you've got Mulder and Scully.
Right.
And in his past life, like Scully was his dad. And, you know, other people they were different people.
Right.
But, you know, in a past life.
Yeah, that's how a lot of these are, which is crazy because, I mean, that makes you wonder about the people that you connect with, you know.
Yeah.
Is it meant to be? My very first job was at Arby's, and I worked with this guy, and he came in, and, you know how they introduce you to everyone when you're new. Well, I had worked there for a while, and he was introduced to me, and I swear I knew this guy from somewhere. I could have swore I knew him. And the funny thing was, he immediately said, you look really familiar. And I was like, I was just thinking that about you. I can't remember his name. I don't see how we would have met before then. And he didn't last a week, I don't think. So he was out of my life like that. So, I mean, it's just the weirdest thing that we immediately had this connection of, I know you, but we'd never met before. It was just really weird.
And he was gone real quick.
Exactly. Like, I don't remember his name. I don't even remember what he looks like. I don't even think he lasted, I don't know. I don't remember ever working with him. If maybe we were on different shifts or something, but yeah, he wasn't there. I never really saw him again after that.
Well, there are some people that you meet throughout your life or whatever that you like immediately click with.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I don't even think
wonder,
it was I mean, I don't know.
No, well, I'm not talking really about that, but just in general, you know, there's people that you just immediately feel comfortable with and, you know, can just start talking to, like, you know them or whatever. Yeah, there are those type of people. Which is crazy. Okay, so next one. When my daughter was 3, she told me several times that she knew me, my sister, my mother, and my dad before she was here now. She said all of us women wore white dresses and worked in a white tent with red crosses on it. She said we all helped fix Grandpa after he got poomed, which was her word for sounds a gun makes when she was little. She also told me that we have taken turns being the mommy. She said I was doing a good job this time. I actually accidentally called her mommy a couple of times when I was really tired. Oh my gosh.
My little boy spoke what sounded like German as a baby without hearing it before. And when he was older, we got a German babysitter that was surprised we only spoke English because he was speaking low German at her house.
Oh my god, I just got chills.
I did too. That's insane. A little boy just speaking German.
Yeah, there's something to it, I think.
I know, there has to be. Okay, next one. I fully believe in past lives. My parents told me that up until about 6, I used to have horrible reoccurring nightmares of being run over by a bus along a certain stretch of road near where my grandparents lived. It was only when I was in my teens that they told me that my great aunt was knocked down and killed by a bus, age 6, along that exact stretch of road. So yeah, again, within the family.
Yeah.
Like they're all sticking together, that's crazy to me. Next one, I've seen a me that doesn't look like me drown in very cold, deep water repeatedly since I was very young. I've also had a morbid draw to the Titanic. Before you ask, I was born way before the movie. I've seen another me burn alive, feeling the fire burn and blister, watching people watch me burn. I used to wake up screaming as a child that they were burning me to death. And I've had an emotional connection to places I've never been to and never seen before. That's crazy. That's like high profile stuff that this person was, because obviously the Titanic, if they drown there, and then people watching them burn.
That almost sounds like the
Salem witch trials.
Yeah, the witches.
Absolutely.
Being burnt.
Yeah, so that's a lot of historic.
So-called witches.
Yeah, exactly. They totally weren't, but
AKA women that didn't do what they were told.
What the fuck ever.
Yeah, anyway.
Yeah. Okay, so next one. I've always wondered if it's a past life kind of thing when a child has an irrational fear of something before they can talk. My niece, for example, as a toddler, she was afraid of anyone going into the bathroom alone. She would scream no at the door. She was fine if you left the door open, though.
That's weird.
It is weird that it's an irrational fear of, this toddler. Why in the world would she be so scared of that?
Well, people and their irrational fears always makes me think that, that's how they died in a past life.
Yeah, I've thought that too.
I've got this fear of, for some reason, I don't know why, driving off the road into water.
Well, yeah, that's a fear of mine. I don't think about it all the time. Like, do you think about it every single time you go over a bridge?
No, but I remember talking to my ex-husband once about getting one of those kits that you break, that's got a tool that will break your window.
Oh, yeah.
If you end up in water.
Well, you never know. You never know. That could come in handy.
Aunt Rita can't go over, or has anxiety or whatever about going over bridges.
I thought that was Aunt Denise.
No, it's Aunt Rita.
Oh, anyway.
Because whenever they go, because she lives in Kentucky, and whenever they come here.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. What does she, freak out?
Yeah, I don't know exactly what she does. I never asked, but I was like, well, then how does she get here?
Well, she probably just has to, I don't know, focus on something else, I guess.
I don't know.
Oh, man. I feel her pain, that anxiety. I can't handle it. I have horrible anxiety issues about everything. It's so bad. All right. Oh, I'm still in the middle of this story.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were done.
Well, this woman, or whoever, I'm assuming it's a woman, she does a couple more examples of irrational fears. My stepson is terrified of lakes and water spraying on him. Having a bath is fine and playing in the sink is fine, but deeper water over his waist, waves and water falling on him like the showerhead, rain, or water falling from a roof freaks him out.
Tsunami, maybe?
I don't know. Tyrion does that. She does not like water in her face. She'll take a shower and she'll wash her face and, but no, like swimming in the pool or anything like that. She has always no water in her face at all. She does not like it. So I personally think that's kind of like a normal, because, Tyrion does it. So
yeah.
Maybe it's just like a kid thing.
It could be, there's kids that don't like to get dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah. They all
grow
have
out of it.
Yeah, they only have their little quirks or whatever.
Yeah. And she goes on, I remember as a child, too, having a reoccurring dream where I was a different girl. I remember seeing myself in the mirror, brushing my hair, then hearing a fire alarm and not being able to find my way out while I could hear my mom calling my name. Next thing I remember is being above my body while it was charred and bloody. then being wheeled out of the house. I still remember the full layout of the house, on a stretcher by paramedics, in a body bag, still from the view of looking at myself from above. I remember being no more than 5 or 6, telling my mom about these dreams. My mom just remarked about them being silly, but it's always bothered me. That is crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was it for that one.
Okay, finally, dang.
Okay, next one. My little cousin lived in my pink house down that road, quote unquote, and could tell anyone about her entire family of 6 siblings. She also said that she remembered when she was playing in the street and that car hit her and everyone was sad.
Aw.
I know! Oh my goodness. Next one. I was around 10 years old at the time. My brother was 6. We were driving across a bridge, and out of nowhere, my brother says, "Look, Mommy, I died right over there." And he points towards the railing of the bridge. Freaked me and my mom out pretty hard. Years later, I asked my brother if he remembers what he said, and he doesn't.
Yeah, I think at a certain age, it just kind of goes away.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a memory that you have, and after a while, that's it kind of fades. So that's crazy. So who knows what we remembered when we were tiny and we don't remember it now. Okay, next one. I knew a guy who thought all paranormal things were nonsense, and he told me a story of his which really surprised me. He was in his late 50s, and his entire life, for as long as he could remember, he had a dream that he was standing in a field. It was always the exact same layout, rolling hills. He could see the tree line from his vantage point. The only real landmarks were a lone tree and a wooden fence. Every time during the dream, he felt as if he was a young boy and could feel there was a large group seemingly behind him. He never told a soul, not his wife or his kids. One day, he took his family to Gettysburg while on vacation. That exact vantage point was the Union high water line during the battle. It definitely disturbed him, but he still refused to consider it being paranormal. So that's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
If you went somewhere on vacation and you had totally seen that place, been there, told someone about it, and it was, oh my God, he was in freaking Gettysburg.
Real. Yeah.
It's so crazy. Okay, next one. Several months ago, my husband and I were talking about our wedding, which took place about 7 years ago. My son, who is 3, was listening when all of a sudden he chimes in and says, "Yeah, I was there at your wedding." We tell him he wasn't because he wasn't even born yet. He insists he was there and that he watched the whole thing from up in the sky.
Oh.
My husband and I thought it was a little strange, but brushed it off. Just recently he asked me, what grave was I in before I was here? I told him he wasn't in a grave, and again, he insists that he was in a grave. I questioned him a little further, and he said something like, I was in the ground, in a grave, and then I was here with you. Super creepy coming from the mouth of a kid.
Those are creepy.
I know, why would he say that?
So it's almost like what we're just recycled over and over and over again.
I personally believe this is hell. I believe we are in hell. We have to perfect this lifetime.
If that's the case, then I'm not getting out anytime soon.
What are you talking about? No, this is, we're trying to perfect our souls.
Yeah.
We come here to, live out this life and learn whatever it is that we came here to learn, and that's what I believe. I believe this is hell. And just think about the people that you have to interact with and trust on a day-to-day basis. When you're driving down the road and you have to trust all of these strangers that you don't know what they're thinking in order not to crash into you, that's hell.
Oh no, I'm not saying it's not, but I'm just saying I'm probably not doing very well.
Oh, you're fine. You're not a total piece of shit like there are.
No. So you're thinking that like all the serial killers and stuff now, that's like, like their first life, like they've got so many more to go through before.
Yes, they really, really fucked this one up. So you go right back into the womb and you try it again.
That's what I was talking to my friend about, Amy. She's anything that you could think of that would happen to somebody, it happens to her. I mean, I was like, what did you do in a past life? And she's like, girl, I've done it all.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, well, and I think that's what deja vu is. I think that we kind of
I definitely believe. I think that we're made of energy. I think we get recycled over
Absolutely.
and over and over again.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, obviously I don't know, but
there's those people that they call, this, or they say that they have an old soul.
Yes.
They've been around a while.
Yeah, and I believe that.
Mm-hmm.
I think there are old souls, and I think that, they, we always have something to learn, and, maybe there's steps that we need to take to become the best that we can be. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't either.
Anyway, next one. I had an experience once with a 5-year-old daughter of my neighbor. Lily was quite intuitive and aware for a kid. Ooh, this is kind of weird. This is a little old soul, it sounds like. And we had a strange connection. When she would go on a trip with her parents, she would always bring me a souvenir. Which, that's a 5-year-old doing
Wow,
that. That's very adult kind of. One day after they moved to a new house, I went upstairs to see her new attic playroom. With another friend, we watched amazed as she outlined a circle on the floor in chalk and referred to it as her safe, protected place, where nothing could harm her when she made her wishes. She proceeded to address the 4 directions and sat in the middle and began wishing good things for her mom, her dad, and baby brother. I just stood there astounded. She was doing magic, performing magic. Then she turned to me with evident frustration and said, Don't you remember? Don't you remember teaching me?"
Oh my gosh.
That's so crazy. And again, they're connected. They met up in this life, you know? It's weird. Next one of my earliest memories was of riding on the seat of a covered wagon.
Ooh.
I think this is really cool. I remembered watching the horses in front of me and seeing the dust they were kicking up from the dry, hot ground beneath us. I was tiny, sitting between my mom and dad. I remember wearing a bonnet because I had to bend it away from my eyes to look to the side. As a child, I remember getting really frustrated with my mom because I kept asking her when we could go to the place with the covered wagon rides again. She would always insist that she didn't know what I was talking about and that I had never been to a covered wagon before. She would always say it must have been a dream, but I knew it wasn't. I was old enough to know the difference between a dream and a memory, and this was a memory. Even talking about it as adults, my mom was certain that we had never done anything like that. It was possible it could be a memory fragment of a past life. It's a memory I have always literally had. Which I think that's so cool. A covered wagon? That's crazy. That's so old. All right, next one. I've always had the feeling that I am not who I'm supposed to be. Ever since I was a kid, I would always say and do outdated things that only adults would understand. Like I instinctively knew how to properly make a cup of tea. I'm American, and my parents have never been tea or coffee drinkers. Very often, I had vivid dreams that were more like memories. In one, my family starved to death because of the Dust Bowl. In another, I was an old German woman in a village. I was speaking German the entire time, which I have no clue how to do in this life. When I woke up, I immediately woke my husband and told him about some of the words I kept repeating in my dream. He told me to look them up, and they were legitimate old German words. Also, something I regularly experience is when people call me by my name, I don't automatically register that they're talking to me. I used to tell my mom when I was little that wasn't my name. It's like she remembers. I mean, people remembering stuff that they used to do, or like knowing automatically how to do something. It's crazy. This one is super short. My stepdaughter was about 3. They were crossing the bridge into St. Louis, and she casually said, "That's where the hospital built where I died was." Okay. This is my last one. It's kind of long. When I was younger, as in maybe 2 to 4 years old, I'd have dreams about being trapped underwater. They were reoccurring nightmares, and to this day I'm afraid of swimming under things. I mentioned it to my mom a few years ago, and she told me around the time I was born, she kept having dreams that she was a Native American back in the day, and she had to go gathering food. When she came back to our tribe, the tribe had been attacked, and she found me face down in water in a nearby frozen lake. Completely different bit here. My mother-in-law says when my husband first started talking, he constantly asked if she remembered when he drowned, and act confused when she obviously said no. He's like, why not? Why don't you remember that? Also, since as long as I can remember, I've had vivid dreams about being a serial killer from the 1940s or 50s. I lived in an old farmhouse in the middle of the woods, secluded from everyone. I buried my victims, all women with medium-length jet black hair and very pretty, on my property. There are at least 50, if not more. I've been dreaming about this guy since I can remember, and the details never change. I don't have a name or location, but it bothers me enough that I tried searching, and I don't think I was ever caught. Sometimes I have moments where I genuinely quote-unquote miss my old life. In this life, I wouldn't hurt a fly, and I've dedicated myself to helping people. Sometimes certain situation triggers feelings that are not really mine, and I'm not sure where they come from. It's always the same type of girl and always the same thoughts of how to disable her in order to get her back to my place. I've come to terms with it and pass it off as an intrusive thought, but I've never once wanted to act on these.
That's crazy. That's what I just said.
What do you mean?
When I said if you could be a serial killer in, a past life and, you keep having to do it until you learn not to be an asshole.
And this person has kind of what I got out of it was that she purposely has dedicated her life to helping people.
Yeah.
And she still has these thoughts, but she would never act on it.
Yeah, so it's like she's still got some more to go.
Maybe, yeah.
But she's getting there.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. So yeah, those were mine. I thought those were creepy.
Yeah.
I was looking for a little bit more than that, so I might come back to that topic because I want to know if there are any that, maybe aren't like things that they don't recognize, like places that they don't recognize as being Earth or something crazy like that, or like maybe in the ocean, something like that.
All right, now it is time for the witty wrap up.
Yay, witty wrap up.
I did this one. It's funny teacher stories.
Awesome, these kids. I love it.
Okay. The first one is called Rock Me Amadeus. Performing Mozart should have been the highlight of my middle school chorus class, but after a few uninspired attempts, an exasperated student raised his hand and said, "Mrs. Willis, we want to sing music from our generation, not yours." Okay, my next one's called Lost in Translation. To my German language students, I'm Frau Draper. One girl gave me a badge, she said, with my name on it. Unfortunately, it wasn't big enough to include my entire name, which meant that she presented me with a badge that read fraud. Okay, my next one's called Why Waste Paper. I recently asked a student where his homework was. He replied, "It's still in my pencil."
That's very clever.
It is.
I'll give him that.
I would have gave him an A just for that. Okay, this one's called Hey You. My 6th grade class would not leave me alone for a second. It was a constant stream of Miss Osborne, Miss Osborne, Miss Osborne. Fed up, I said firmly, "Do you think we could go for just 5 minutes without anyone saying Miss Osborne?" The classroom got quiet. Then from the back, a soft voice said, Cindy?" This one's called Driven Crazy. During the driver's education class that my friend taught, a student approached a right turn. "Use your turn signal," my friend reminded her. "No one's coming," said the student. "It doesn't matter. It might help those behind you." Chastened, the girl turned around to the students in the back seat and said, "I'm turning right up ahead." All right. Thanks for the help. On the last day of the year, my first graders gave me beautiful written hand letters. As I read them aloud, my emotions got the better of me and I started to choke up. I'm sorry, I said, I'm having a hard time reading. One of my students said, just sound it out.
That's cute.
Okay, this one's called Problem Solvers. The kids were painting a project for social studies and got some paint on the floor. Fearing someone might slip, I asked a student to take care of it. A few minutes later, a piece of paper appeared on the floor with the words, "Caution, wet paint." Those are some smart kids. Okay, this one's called Let's Ask the Professor. During snack time, a kindergarten pupil asked why some raisins were yellow while others were black. I didn't know the answer, so I asked my friend, a first grade teacher, if she knew. Yellow raisins are made from green grapes, and black raisins are made from red grapes, she explained. One little boy suggested, maybe that's why she teaches first grade, because she's just a little bit smarter than you.
Oh, goodness.
That's mean. Artist's rendition. I assigned my third grade class the task of drawing one of Christopher Columbus's 3 ships. I had no sooner sat down when a boy came up with his paper, which had a little dot in the middle. What's that? I asked. He replied, that's Columbus way out to sea.
Oh my gosh.
What a little shit.
I know. Again, clever though.
Yeah. This one's called Why, Thank You. As I welcomed my first grade students into the classroom, one little girl noticed my polka dot blouse and paid me the ultimate first grade compliment. Oh, you look so beautiful. Just like a clown.
Oh, that's kind of sweet, but not.
All right. Everybody's a critic. A student in my English class gave a big thumbs down to the autobiography he'd read. His reason, the author talks about himself. All right. This one's called It Doesn't Add Up. When one girl had finished the English portion of the examination, she removed her glasses and started the maths questions. Why aren't you wearing your glasses? She was asked. She responded, my glasses are for reading, not mathematics. Fluent in English. Our assistant principal called in one of my underperforming Introduction to Spanish pupils to ask why he was having trouble with the subject. I don't know. I just don't understand Miss Bear, the boy said. It's like she's speaking another language.
Oh, that's cute.
And this is the last one. Figure of speech. After a colleague had finished his English lecture and his class had filed out, a student stayed behind to confront him. I don't appreciate being singled out, he told his teacher. The teacher was confused. What do you mean? I don't know what the oxy part means, but I know what moron is, and you looked straight at me when you said it.
Oh my gosh, paranoid much?
That's all I got.
All right, well, thank you so much for listening again, and we still want to hear your stories. Please email us.
Please.
Ghouls Night Out podcast at gmail.com. Again, like our page, look us up, do all that shit. And again, thanks for listening, and we will talk to you next week.
Later.
Bye.